Many DC natives are being priced out of the housing market. Let's get into this. A share of homes in the DC region were purchased with all cash this year, as high interest rates and a shortage of homes for sales put buyers without ample funds at an even bigger disadvantage than usual. Through November, all cash sales accounted for more than a quarter of home purchases in DC, according to an analysis of data provided by the real estate research firm Bright MLS. Both the district and the broader Washington region are on track to have their highest share of cash purchases since 2014. The hyper competitive environment for home buying in the region is like a fist fight, said Dana Rice, an executive vice president at Compass. You walk into this game and you're on the field of battle. Across the region, 18.9% of homes sold through November were bought with cash, edging out last year's 18.7%. In previous years, the ratio of cash purchases ranged from 11 to 16%. In DC, the share was 25.3% from last year's record of 23.3%. From 2016 to 2022, the DC figure never reached 20%. Cash purchases have been rising across the country, reaching as high as 60% in parts of Florida where many home buyers shop for second houses or retirement homes. The median age of home buyers nationally has risen to 56, according to the National Association of Realtors. With first time home buyers, share purchases has fallen below a quarter, a historic low. Fran, 32, is well below that medium and not heavy in cash. She was looking to buy her first home when she saw a condo she loved in Tinleytown. But before the open house even took place, the listing agent informed her that multiple offers had already come in, including a cash bid for 330 above asking price. Fran couldn't buy with cash, but she made an aggressive counteroffer, raising her bid to 360,000, only to learn the cash buyer had matched her offer. At that point, I knew there was no competition, she said, adding, if you have 330 in cash, clearly you're going to have 360 in cash. She bowed out. Everyone has so much cash, Kimberly Casey, a luxury real estate agent with TTR Sotheby's International Realty, said of buyers who don't need a mortgage. I think it's the stock market. I think it's crypto. But more importantly, it's the largest generational transfer of wealth in the history of our country. Combine the inflated assets of the house rich and the well heeled with the low inventory of available homes, and it's hard for average would be home buyers to break in. The region is on pace to roughly equal last year's 49,170 home sales, according to Bright MLS data, far behind the sales total from the previous 8 years, which were all above 60,000 and topped 80,000 in 2021 when interest rates were lower. Sellers and their agents often prefer cash offers because the deals can be completed more quickly and reliably than when the offers require mortgage financing to come through. You can't ever feel bad about losing to a cash offer, Rice said. That is always going to make the seller feel warm and fuzzy, even if the buyer waived every other contingency. Fran was eventually able to buy another home with a mortgage, of course, but her experience with Tinleytown condo left her frustrated. It feels as though the playing field is not level, she said, adding, was born in DC, and man, it's hard to just buy a silver of the nation's capital. Just wanted to make everyone aware of where things are headed. Looks like the super rich and the wealthy are moving into the city. So we need to stay aware of what's happening and try our best to prepare. Those that don't prepare are going to end up on a universal basic income. So this is the awareness district. I am T Short. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend that we cover digital assets and DC local news as it relates to you.
Team Ronald Mays entered the ring close to 15 deep. Ricky Bowling made his grand entrance moments later. He was a big, brown-skinned, huge man at 6'4", 240 pounds. His fighting style was all about power punching and constant pressure. He could end a fight with either hand. At 5'11", 210 pounds, what Ronald lacked in size, he made up for in heart and skill. The announcer began. In the blue and white trunks at 28-0 with 24 knockouts, we have the WBA and IBF heavyweight champion of the world. The announcer then dragged his deep voice and continued. Ricky Dynamite Bowling. The crowd went off. And from the nation's capital, in the black trunks at 34-1 with 27 knockouts, we have Ronald Razor Mays. The crowd went off again. The rules were given again and the fighters headed to their corners. Remember the game plan, Roland said to Ronald. No matter what happens, your defense and speed will get you to the promised land. The bell rang and Ronald took a deep breath as he headed for center ring with his guards up. The cheering crowd had him in a zone. A surge of energy flowed through Ronald's body. Bowling swung a murderous left hook off the top, followed by a shotgun blast and a right. Ronald stepped out of the way with ease and fired back-to-back stinging jabs as he circled the big fighter. The first real exchange of championship blows came next. Bowling worked his long jab and then caught Ronald with a loud over right hand. Ronald felt the punch throughout his whole body, but answered it with a body-head attack that came in a flash of red gloves. Ronald grabbed Bowling, showing a lot of strength, and slung him behind him. Bowling became enraged and spun around with a strong left and right hook. Ronald slipped them both and peppered the champ with a three-piece to the head. Another heavy exchange of blows ensued with a loud and powerful force, followed by a roar of the crowd. Suffering from a crushing uppercut, Ronald found himself against the ropes, taking a number of blows to the gloves and arms. Although he was well protected, Ronald felt the champ's power. The bell rang and the round ended. In his corner, Ronald listened to more instructions from Roland, who wanted more boxing out of Ronald and less brawling. Ronald came out for round 2 and got down to business. He gave the champ different looks and continued to blast him with his long jab, frustrating him. Fight, the champ grunted. Fight like a man. Stop running. Ronald answered the request with more jabs, followed by a powerful left hook every time the champ rushed him. Ronald clearly outboxed the champ for the rest of the round. For the next 5 rounds, Ronald stuck to his game plan, but the champ changed his and began rushing and trying to strong-arm Ronald. He pushed Ronald around, hit him with low blows and elbows, all out of the sight of the ref. Ronald came out smoking in round 8. Halfway through the round, the two fighters were tearing into each other like fighting lions until Ronald slipped a Mike Tyson-like uppercut into the mix. The champ took a long fall and hit the canvas with a hard bounce. A loud gasp came from the crowd. 4, 5, 6. The ref stood over the champ, flagging his hands in his face as he counted. Ronald and his team watched with their hopes up. Ronald could almost taste the title. 7, 8, the ref continued, but the champ was climbing off the canvas. Fight, the ref said, getting out of the way. Ronald went straight to work, throwing another chopping combination that staggered the champ. The champ grabbed Ronald and held him until the round was over. In round 9, the champ had his legs back under him and was landing hard blows. Ronald changed the tone of the fight after throwing a deadly flurry of punches to the champ's head and then backing out of danger with a popping jab.